Responding to disasters takes the efforts of many agencies and organizations. And so Florida has set up its disaster response structure into emergency support functions, also known as ESFs. And ESFs basically manage and coordinate specific categories of assistance that are common in disasters. Florida ESF 17 carries out specifically animal and agricultural issues, and our Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services serves as the lead agency for ESF 17. So during natural disasters like hurricanes, ESF 17 takes many emergency protective actions before, during, and after response. Typically, our State Emergency Operations Center is located in Tallahassee, Florida. We will activate at that center, monitor the storm with all the other ESFs at the state EOC, and we will respond to county requests for resources if they have critical or unmet needs, particularly for animals and agriculture. In our case, that's what we're looking out for. Florida's animal and agricultural industries today are so large and so complex. And there is not a single agency or organization who has all the resources necessary to respond during an emergency. So to prevent duplication of efforts and to really help fill a gap for some of those areas in animal and agricultural preparedness, our Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services teamed up with our University of Florida IFAS Extension, as well as our University of Florida College of Veterinary Medicine and the United States Department of Agriculture to develop a new approach to disaster relief. And that is how they created the Florida State Agricultural Response Team in 2004. Known as SART. Partners like IFAS are vital to SART. IFAS has provided us with facilities, equipment, personnel such as subject matter experts. They've assisted us on the ground with damage assessments, even communications and education and outreach. So they are a very critical partner to us here at SART and for our local county emergency management agencies.
When we have any hurricane type disasters or other disasters that we have in the state of Florida, we have the state level emergency board that gets together and talks about what are some of the counties that have had crop damage of at least 30% or more. Those counties need to be declared as an emergency county so that they could get some funding from the federal resources. University of Florida IFAS Extension plays a very pivotal role in that area. We have expertise in agriculture and horticulture and livestock assessment and animal sciences. So all of those expertise come handy when it comes to coordinating and looking at the animal and agriculture type issues after a disaster. University of Florida IFAS has extension offices in 67 counties, and many of those county offices can serve as a staging area or also as an area where the volunteers can come and assist for supplies, for taking calls, working with people who are affected. We also have a state disaster response specialist, which is Dr. Angie Lindsay. She also has resources that she shares with our agents and faculty.
So my job in dealing with natural disasters in the state of Florida is working with extension folks and extension agents and faculty throughout the state to help them not only get prepared and help their communities get prepared for disasters, but also help in recovery efforts as well. I also work with agencies such as FDACS and SART on helping them develop materials that we then disseminate out to our extension agents that extension agents can use in helping their communities prepare, mitigate, and recover from disasters. We learn so much from our extension agents and the work that they're already doing throughout the state and the work that they do within their own communities for disaster preparedness and recovery and response. And so there's a lot that's already going on throughout the state that our extension agents are so involved in, and not only in sitting in their emergency operations center during a storm, but also doing preparedness programs and recovery programs throughout the year as well. And one of the things that I think has been very important in my role is helping some of those agents understand the relationship that we have with the state emergency management system, and how we come into play with that is through SART, which is through the State Agricultural Response Team. And we are members of the SART team, and during a disaster or recovering from a disaster, we are part of those those calls that happen at the state level, making sure that all areas of agriculture within the state are prepared, but also in recovery as well. And working with FDACS and SART, especially in the time of a disaster, not only do I take some of the information that we get from FDACS and from SART and get it out to our extension agents, but it's also a two-way street. In other words, if there's a gap or need in your own area that you think can be met with some of the resources that SART and FDACS can provide, I can certainly assist with that, and you can contact me and I can go to the SART team and say, hey, we have a need within this area. And then especially in times of a disaster, it quickly becomes a priority to make sure that gap in need is filled out. So I hope that extension agents will look to me as kind of a resource in times of disaster, not only in that preparedness, use me as the liaison to get information back to FDACS and SART as well.